Peter Morrison from Hospitality New Zealand. Kia ora, welcome.
All right, Marina, good morning everyone. You would have seen me here before a few times, but this is our new regional manager, Nikki Rogers, who's just started last week with us. So thank you for allowing us to present to you. You would have seen our submission. I haven't got time in 5 minutes to go right through the whole lot, so I will just quickly get on to it. Hospitality New Zealand is a member-led not-for-profit organisation, and we represent approximately 3,000 businesses, including cafes, restaurants, bars, nightclubs, commercial accommodation, country hotels and off-licences throughout New Zealand. Our Canterbury branch has 380 members booked, and the majority of those are in the Christchurch City Council, but we also have members in Selwyn, Hurunui, Waimak and Ashburton, and we are presenting as well to those councils. As I said, we welcome the opportunity to talk to you. AGNZ does not see strong alignment in the LTP to support an enabling environment of businesses in the city. Within the strategic framework, no specific focus in terms of how the prosperous economy community outcomes will be achieved is highlighted. The city needs businesses to help achieve all their community outcomes and strategic priorities. Thus, a strong and resilient business community in Christchurch needs the support of its council. Continually passing on costs, rates increases and failure to future-proof infrastructure does not support a thriving business community. We are not asking council to fund businesses. We are asking council to enable more development, growth and progress through achieving their core business with excellence and removing unnecessary burdens on business. Infrastructure funding, if you please read this, it is very important to us and businesses in general. Hospitality and accommodation sectors are viewed by some councils as an easy source of funds via targeted rates on commercial businesses or implementing bed taxes. Hospitality New Zealand opposes the introduction of a bed tax as it only targets those people staying in commercial accommodation. You know, I've said this before, everyone benefits out of tourism, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, so everyone benefits. Hospitality New Zealand recommends further consideration is given to implement the Productivity Commission report findings, which is the beginning of our submission. Targeted rates in tourism or bed taxes concern our members who assert these unfairly place the burden of funding infrastructure or promotion on just one part of the tourism hospitality industry. As ratepayers, businesses oppose increases to fund basic infrastructure that they may not receive a direct benefit from, i.e. infrastructure in some areas for Freedom Campus. We would prefer to see central government funding of infrastructure where local councils are unable to fund it themselves. And if new funding schemes are required, there needs to be an emphasis on broad-based levying, and they need to be fair and equitable to all business who will benefit from their further infrastructure development. Short-term rental accommodation. This is a big issue for us. You know, we've been here before presenting to you that, and we are presenting to the hearing on next Monday, the 17th of May. In some parts of the country, and I suggest here as well, the preference for rental property owners to convert to Airbnb or similar is resulting in a lack of available long-term rental accommodation for workers and families at reasonable costs. Hospitality New Zealand, alongside other sector associations, submitted a letter to MBIE in July 2020 recommending a compulsory registration data sharing system that allows for information collection from all operators of STRA and a consistent national regulatory framework. We do recognise that the Council is already progressing well in this space through the PC4 work currently underway, as I mentioned before. We encourage the Council to approve the PC4 with amendments to further control visitor accommodation in residential zones and avoid unhosted visitor accommodation in residential zones. Impose non-complying activity status on unhosted visitor accommodation in residential units, and consider a threshold as to when residential unit is no longer a residential unit when the primary activity is visitor accommodation. Our specific comments, you can read those about the rates. While on average 5.91% increase for business is reasonable in year one, we will want to see further rates increases across the rest of the 10-year plan fall into line with the proposed increases. Our key areas of funding, we strongly support the Otakaro Avon River corridor development. and myself, being a committee member of the Friends of the Arts Centre, and all our board really support the Arts Centre targeted rate, and secondly, the additional funding for the Robert McDougall Art Gallery base isolation work. These projects enhance key attractions of the Garden City and encourage more visitors to the area. We support more funding for Christchurch NZ. While the funding to the organisation itself hasn't been reduced, HNZ believes you should support Christchurch NZ further as they bring visitors to the area and increase the tourism take through the promotion and marketing of the city and all we have to offer. In terms of Christchurch NZ's economic development work, we would like to see more funding and support for all businesses in the city, not just super nodes or growth industries. Also, not in my submission is the National Sports Museum Trust of New Zealand. I understand that Bruce Ulrich is presenting tomorrow. We really support their submission, and hopefully we'll get money. You'll grant the money for his feasibility. We are going to help with this as well, the funding. It is interesting that Bruce writes, when we won the right to host the 1974 Commonwealth Games, it was in July 1970, which gave us exactly 3.5 years to build, plan and organise the Games. We're still 3 years to 2024, which will be the 50th anniversary. Why not have this project completed for that year when we will be celebrating these Games again? It is important we keep it as a national project in the public's perception, but Christchurch will get the benefits. We do not support the Central City Business Association targeted rate, even though we're a member of that. The council cannot consider a targeted rate on businesses in the Central City as a grant, given the businesses the grant is going back to have funded the grant in the first place. Furthermore, if the council is aiming to improve the efficiency of the CBD and more people come into the city, charging businesses in that area does not encourage new businesses opening. If council pushes ahead with their plans, we believe the rate should not be a fixed fee. Businesses in that area varying in size and revenue and number of employees. A more nuanced fee structure should be implemented to reflect the proportional benefit.
I think I'll let you end there. I did want you to complete that element of it because that is distinct from obviously the view that has been presented by the CCBA, but I wanted you to be able to speak to that element as well. So thank you very much for taking the time to make a considered submission and to present to us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we have Murray James from the Food Resilience Network.
Oh, do I get the middle? Okay, fair enough.